Have you ever met someone over 80 who's still sharp as a tack? They remember birthdays, tell great stories, and carry conversations like they're decades younger. You walk away thinking, I hope I'm like that when I'm older. Here's the truth. Staying mentally sharp after 80 isn't just about luck or having good genes. More often, it comes down to simple daily habits, small things done with consistency that keep the brain active, the body engaged, and the spirit alive. As someone who's worked closely with seniors for many years, I've met dozens of people in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s who seem to defy the typical expectations of aging. When I ask what keeps them so sharp, their answers aren't fancy or complicated. In fact, most of them credit a few daily rituals that keep their minds clear and their moods steady. That's what today's video is about. I'm going to share 5 powerful daily rituals that many sharp seniors practice, habits that are simple, effective, and backed by both science and real-life wisdom. These rituals aren't about stopping aging, they're about aging well, because growing older doesn't have to mean losing your spark. With the right habits, your 80s can be filled with clarity, energy, and joy. So let's get started. The first ritual is something surprisingly small, but it might just be the foundation of a sharper mind. Ritual 1. Morning mind activation. Let's start with the first daily ritual I've seen in almost every sharp senior I've met, and that is activating the brain first thing in the morning. Now, this might sound obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people spend the first hour of their day in silence, scrolling through their phone, or just going through the motions without any mental stimulation. But those who stay sharp well into their 80s do something different. They engage their brain early every single day. Take Mr. Harris, for example. He's 84 and still volunteers at a local library every morning before breakfast. He does a 10-minute crossword puzzle. He told me, "It's not about finishing it, it's about waking up my brain." Others read the news out loud, go over a short gratitude list, or listen to a podcast that challenges their thinking. The key here isn't what you do, it's that you do something that makes your brain stretch a little. Like stretching your body in the morning, you need to stretch your mind too. Scientific research backs this up. Studies have shown that starting the day with cognitive stimulation, even just 10 to 15 minutes, can improve memory, focus, and even mood throughout the day. It also helps strengthen the brain's neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to adapt and stay resilient as you age. And let's not forget the emotional side. Activating your mind early gives you a sense of purpose. It tells your brain, we're still learning, we're still growing. That mindset alone can delay mental decline. So what can you do tomorrow morning? You don't have to do anything fancy. Just choose one thing that gets your brain going. Maybe it's reading a page from a book. Maybe it's journaling for 5 minutes. Maybe it's doing a Sudoku puzzle or solving a riddle. Keep it light, fun, and most importantly, consistent. Because what you do first thing in the morning sets the tone for your entire day. And for many mentally sharp seniors, that tone starts with curiosity, attention, and a little brain wake-up call. Ritual 2, purposeful movement. The second ritual that keeps people sharp after 80 might surprise you. It's not a brain game or a memory trick. It's movement, but not just any kind purposeful movement. We're not talking about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. We're talking about simple, intentional daily movement that connects the mind and body. There's a woman I know, her name is Edith. She's 86 and lives alone. Every morning, she opens her windows, turns on soft classical music, and spends 15 minutes doing gentle stretches and light yoga, nothing fancy. She calls it her mindful motion time. She once told me, it's not just about moving. It's about being aware of how my body feels, what it needs, and giving it care. That's the key awareness. When movement becomes mindful, it becomes medicine not just for the body, But for the brain, it improves blood flow, boosts oxygen to the brain, and helps clear mental fog. Studies have consistently shown that regular, low-impact movement like walking, Tai Chi, or gentle stretching can improve memory, prevent cognitive decline, and even reduce the risk of dementia. One famous study found that seniors who walk for just 30 minutes a day had a 40% lower risk of memory loss compared to those who were sedentary. Why? Because movement stimulates areas of the brain tied to memory and focus, especially the hippocampus. And beyond science, there's something emotionally powerful about moving with intention. It tells your mind, I'm still active, I'm still here, I'm still in charge. If you're not sure where to start, begin small. Take a slow walk around the block after breakfast. Do some seated stretches while watching your favorite show, or simply stand up and march in place for a minute every hour. Purposeful movement doesn't mean sweating. It means being present while you move. It means choosing movement as a gift to yourself every day. So the next time you find yourself sitting too long, remember the sharpest seniors don't wait for motivation. They move with intention. Ritual 3, meaningful social connection. The third ritual that helps people stay sharp after 80 is one many people overlook, but it might be the most powerful of all. It's meaningful social connection. Now, I'm not talking about being surrounded by people 24/7. I'm talking about real conversations, emotional bonds, and feeling seen and heard. That kind of connection keeps your brain alert, your emotions stable, and your spirit uplifted. Let me tell you about George. He's 82, a retired school principal, and every Wednesday afternoon, he meets two friends for coffee at the same diner they've been going to for over 20 years. They laugh, debate politics, talk about their families, and sometimes just sit in comfortable silence. George once told me, "Those talks keep me young. They give my brain something to chew on." Science agrees. Social engagement, especially as we age, is one of the most protective factors against cognitive decline. In fact, people with strong social ties are less likely to develop dementia and depression, and they tend to live longer overall. Why is that? Because every time you talk to someone, really talk, you're exercising multiple areas of your brain: memory, language, emotional regulation, empathy. It's like going to the gym, but for your mind, and it doesn't have to be face-to-face. Phone calls, video chats, even writing letters or sending voice messages can create the same effect. What matters is quality, not quantity. A single heartfelt conversation can do more for your brain than hours of surface-level small talk. If you've been feeling isolated lately, don't wait for someone to reach out. Be the one to call, join a local group, take a class, or simply invite a neighbor over for tea. It's never too late to build meaningful connections, and it might just be the most important gift you give yourself this year. The sharpest elders don't isolate, they engage. They stay curious about others. They keep learning through listening. So ask yourself, who can I talk to this week? Really talk to your brain, and your heart will thank you. Ritual 4, lifelong curiosity and learning. The fourth ritual that keeps people mentally sharp well into their 80s is simple but powerful lifelong curiosity and learning. There's something incredibly energizing about being a student of life, even when you're decades past your school days. The sharpest elders I've met never stop learning. They ask questions, they explore, they stay curious, not just about the world, but about themselves. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 88 and recently started learning Spanish through a language app on her iPad. When I asked her why, she smiled and said, "I've always wanted to travel to Spain, but even if I never go, at least I'll know how to ask for a cup of coffee in Madrid." That kind of playful curiosity is no small thing. Research has shown that mental stimulation through learning helps build new neural pathways in the brain, even in your 80s and 90s. It keeps your brain flexible, adaptive, and more resistant to age-related decline. And learning doesn't have to be academic. You can learn to cook a new recipe, try painting, explore genealogy, study birds in your backyard, or read about a new topic each week. What matters is that your brain is engaged in discovering something new. Think of your brain like a garden. If you water it with curiosity, it keeps growing. But if you leave it alone too long, weeds start to take over. And here's the beauty of it. Learning also builds confidence. It reminds you that you're capable, that you're still growing, that you have something to offer. That sense of progress, no matter how small, is a powerful emotional boost. One thing I've noticed is that sharp elders often talk with a kind of quiet excitement about what they're learning. It could be a podcast they heard, a book they just started, or a documentary they watched. Their eyes light up when they speak. You can see their brain working. If you haven't challenged your mind in a while, try something simple. Read about a topic you've always been curious about. Watch a video series on something new. Ask a grandchild to teach you how to use a new app. It's not about being perfect. It's about staying open. Because the people who stay mentally young are the ones who never stop being curious. Ritual 5. Daily reflection and inner peace. The fifth and final ritual I want to share with you is one that doesn't just sharpen the mind, it strengthens the heart. It's the practice of daily reflection and inner peace. Now I know that might sound a little abstract, but stay with me. The sharpest people I've met over 80 have one thing in common. They've made peace with their past. And they take time each day to reconnect with themselves. They don't let their minds run wild with regret, fear, or stress. Instead, they pause, breathe, and reflect. Let me tell you about Ray. He's 90 years old and as mentally clear as someone half his age. Every evening before bed, he sits in his favorite chair, turns off the TV, and spends 10 quiet minutes thinking about his day. What went well? What didn't? What is he grateful for? He told me, I don't try to control everything anymore. I just try to understand what matters and let go of what doesn't. That simple ritual of reflection, quiet, and gratitude has incredible mental benefits. It lowers stress hormones, improves sleep, and gives the mind a sense of closure each day. More importantly, it teaches the brain to slow down and focus. Instead of constantly reacting, you don't have to meditate like a monk or sit cross-legged for hours. You just need a few minutes of quiet with yourself. Maybe it's writing in a journal. Maybe it's saying a short prayer. Maybe it's just sitting by a window and watching the sunset. The point is to pause the noise of life. Let your thoughts settle. Give your mind time to breathe, because in that quiet space, your brain organizes memories, clears mental clutter, and builds emotional strength. That's why so many elders who practice daily reflection seem wiser, calmer, and more mentally present. They've created room in their minds for clarity. If you've never done this before, try it tonight. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Turn off distractions. Close your eyes or grab a pen. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? Or, what am I grateful for right now? Start there. Because reflection isn't just about looking back, it's about moving forward with purpose. And for many people who stay sharp after 80, this quiet moment of peace is the secret ingredient that keeps their minds centered, focused, and full of life. So there you have it, 5 daily rituals that I've seen time and time again in people who stay sharp, focused, and full of life well into their 80s and beyond. Let's quickly recap first. They wake up their mind early in the day through reading, puzzles, journaling, or something that gets the brain going. Second, they move with purpose, not to push themselves, but to stay connected to their body and keep blood flowing to the brain. Third, they stay socially connected even if it's just one meaningful conversation a week. They make space for human connection. Fourth, they keep their minds young through curiosity and lifelong learning because age should never be a barrier to new ideas. And fifth, they make time for daily reflection and inner peace, slowing the mind down so it can stay clear and calm. You don't need to do all of these perfectly, and you certainly don't need to start everything at once. But even adopting just one of these rituals can make a real difference. You might feel more focused, more centered, more alive. What matters most isn't the method, it's the consistency. The seniors I've met who are still sharp in their 80s didn't find some magic trick. They simply showed up for themselves every day, even in small ways. And you can too. Because no matter your age, your mind is still a garden. You get to decide what you plant. You get to choose how you care for it. And with just a little daily attention, you'll be amazed at how strong, how vibrant, and how alive it can stay. If this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of these rituals do you already do? Which one would you like to start? Share your story in the comments. We read everyone, and they truly mean a lot to us. And if you found this video helpful or inspiring, please consider giving it a like, subscribing, and sharing it with someone you care about. You never know who might need a little wisdom today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Remember, growing older isn't about decline. It's about becoming more fully yourself. Stay curious, stay connected, and never stop growing. Until next time, take care, stay well, and keep that beautiful mind of yours active and at peace.